Hello, and welcome to the Bardic INNspiration.
Yes.
Welcome back to the Bardic Inn. Today we're going to delve into another one of our DM interviews. Today we will be interviewing Andrew.
Hello.
So, let's start off with the most obvious question.
Sure.
How did you get into D&D?
I got into D&D by my friend Randy, who still plays with us. That was roughly 6 years ago. And he just showed me the books, and I was just full-on interested, just going through, looking at character creation. And I built my very first character, which was a ranger.
So, player first, DM second. How long did you... Was it until you started DMing then?
Okay, so when I started playing, I played for about 2 years, and then I got into... I saw that 5th edition was coming out, so I got a group together, and we started with the starter set, of course. So I ran that, and we had a rough and tumble time.
Phandelvers?
Yes, Phandelvers.
Lost Minds of Phandelver.
Yes.
What's your favorite thing about DMing?
Story creation. Sitting down with the players and, working as a cooperative group, just building a world.
So not the killing of all PCs
Absolutely
alike?
not. I in my 6 years or 5 years experience, I've killed 3 people, and it was just off the cuff scenarios.
5 years and only 3 people. Someone be saying you're doing it
That
wrong.
that is compared to one of our other players here, or bards. That is small. So, yeah.
It's a very low number.
Yep.
Try harder next time.
From DM to DM, try hard.
So you mentioned world building.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite part about building a world, or do you enjoy it more or less than having a pre-generated world?
I love... and it's the very beginning of it, like creating the map and showing the players the map and where the cities are, and, having those players go to those cities and building off of what they see, just tall skyscrapers or, this small lake off the side of the city. It's just building off of what I see the world as. So
you build the world before you build like any story or background to it?
Yeah, I do. I am unusual in the aspect of I build big and then I go into smaller details. So
what's your favorite type of situation to put players into?
I have and it doesn't happen very often, but I love puzzles. And it's happened a couple times in different campaigns where I've thrown a puzzle, and my players don't typically like puzzles. There are a few that are... There are 2 out of, let's say, 7 that enjoy puzzles. They would rather do more role-playing or encounters, battling encounters, rather than a puzzle, spending time on a puzzle. So I enjoy putting puzzles against my players.
Okay.
What would you say in your time has been one of your favorite or most elaborate puzzles that either players really got into or...
Not so much.
I built a door that had all these symbols around it, and there was it was in a temple to a death god, it was a death god, and Dan had to solve this puzzle in time to, or else these mephits would start appearing and start attacking the party. And then blow up, so he would lose concentration.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was that was probably my best. It took you probably 3 or 4 rounds until you finally figured it out, but it was pretty simple in the way I thought about it, but it took them a little bit. So that was my favorite. Yeah.
Is there a least likely scenario or at least ideal scenario which you would throw at characters? Say a political intrigue or
Probably.
A war.
Probably political intrigue. I'm not very political. I'm not very charismatic either. So for me to think about that stuff is it's interesting. Like, it would be hard for me to get into that and then give it to my players and play off of that. So unless it's written in like a book or something, because I do pre-gens every once in a while. So yeah, that is something. I've worked with something like that and I've failed miserably in scenarios like that. So yeah, that would be the least.
So would you, kind of a follow-up question, would you agree that if the DM's not interested in it, then it kind of would lead into a worse play for the game?
I would hope so, because if the DM is not having fun with the scenario and not enthusiastic about it, the players are, I mean, it depends. The players could be like, this is all I want to do now, or it could be just shambles.
Just shambles for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what, in a role-playing situation, if, say, political intrigue isn't your strong suit, what kind of role-playing scenario do you find to be your strongest or your preferred thing in a game?
I've learned to enjoy more role-playing as story-based off of their stories, like their backstories and what they've like built up in their minds and told me about. And even in that scenario, if one of my players was a political like person, then I would try my best to do that, like work with that. Also, I'm a big component for like for battles, so I enjoy them. I flub up every once in a while. I'll look at stat sheet and I'll miss a ability or something. Yeah, so but I enjoy encounters.
I would have
Battle
to say
encounters.
you can't be a DM if you don't miss something somewhere.
Right.
There's a lot of things you have to take in
Absolutely.
to really keep track of.
So,
But mentioning combat, do you prefer to have that on a more frequent basis, or would you rather have it to where combat just kind of flows with the narrative more?
I mean, I would like to say the second one because that's more storyline based, but I enjoy having an encounter every session or every other session, whether it be, a puzzle or a battle or something along those lines. If it's all role play, that's fine too. I mean, as long as you guys are intrigued with it, as long as you guys are having fun with it, I always try to scope out the group and see, hey, he's into this, so yeah.
Okay. Setting up your encounters, what would you say your favorite environment or setup would be?
A city.
A city? Like
Yeah.
an urban development?
Yeah.
Nooks and crannies,
I mean,
places to hide?
It throws in people that could get hurt, NPCs that come into the fray, or, I mean, that could happen anywhere, but I enjoy city escapes, so.
Do you have any environment that you've ever tried having a combat in and you thought to yourself halfway through, this was a bad idea, this isn't working?
Every time I do a sea adventure.
Oh yeah, those boats.
Yeah, those boats always sink for some reason.
So frail.
Yeah. So, sea adventures are not my strongest suit. So, yeah.
How would you use your favorite or least favorite monster, and what are they?
Okay. We've discussed this in a previous chat. Displacer beasts are my favorite. I've used Bullets before, which are really fun, but Displacer beasts, just because they have that extra ability of just phasing in and out, you either hit them or you don't. So, those, and a jungle scenario. I've used them at least 4 or 5 times in different encounters, and even on a ship. So, Displacer beasts are my favorite monster.
Now that we've talked about combat and progression and creation of stories and worlds, what is your favorite way to start a new campaign?
I would set them up in guilds, and they would have to work together in scenarios, like as a group.
Oh, so they start off working for like a benefactor or something. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
They have a common patron.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, what is your favorite way that stories would end? Like, have you ever planned?
Death. No. With with the backstories fulfilled, or at least most of it. Like, there could be some tie-offs that could happen, like, or that could be lingering.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see how things have progressed, but for the most part, I like to have all the story completed for each player. They retire from adventuring.
Getting a little epilogue story
Right.
in.
What is your greatest highlight as a DM, or your favorite moment from all your games?
Oh, boy.
What's like that shining thing that took place, that one event that you were like, yeah, this is what it's for?
Let's see.
How about the near TPK that you did with Mind Flayers?
The Mind Flare, yeah, but that was more of a,
A chance encounter that went wrong and it screwed
it
us
wasn't a
royally.
chance encounter. It was going to happen.
No,
He's
guys
talking,
went-
he's talking about the first one.
I'm talking
Oh,
about
the chance encounter with that. Yeah, I threw a lot of them at you. So I threw 6 Mind Flayers at them, and they didn't get a chance to do a surprise round. And it was basically they were stunned for the good majority of the encounter until the cleric helped them. I believe that was the scenario.
Yeah.
And they finally vanquished them. But and then the follow up to that was they went into the Mind Flayer Duragar city, and 2 of them died. One was thrown into a bag of holding, or a portable hole, and carried out by an invisible character.
When you say it out loud, our plan sounds a lot worse than it originally
It was. It was a lot worse. But
When
yeah,
you say it like that.
Right.
I enjoyed the other underground or Underdark camp, the encounters with the the school that you guys had to go into and get the chalice.
Oh,
that was a really fun
The Drow
school part of the campaign.
Has there ever been a moment that you planned that would be an epic encounter of some sort,
God,
but you got skipped over?
so many times.
Or an epic encounter that just, say a big epic fight, it just ends immediately.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Really? I can tell you too.
Well, go ahead.
The first one with the forest gnomes.
I guess the centaur one was pretty quick.
It was quick, but it was not immediate end.
Okay.
The centaur one, you threw the boss, or not this. The centaur one, you kind of threw at us. It was more of a miscommunication encounter.
Yeah.
Because no one spoke each other's language.
Yeah.
But the gnomes with the Yuan-Ti, and that river, the poisoned river,
Sure.
I ended that boss in 1 turn. You showed me the boss, and I ended it in 1 turn. Based off of the way that you did the curse, I had a necklace of prayer beads, which allowed me to cast 1 greater restoration. And I ended the curse on the gnome that was supposed to be the big bad boss.
Yeah.
And then he
Before he
ended up,
turned into it. He turned into it, but it was it was already done for him.
yeah, he had turned into it, and then I ended the curse, and now he was more of a pseudo lycanthrope almost.
But a snake-like
Yeah.
creature. Yeah.
And he ended up eventually becoming a NPC
Yeah.
party member
Yeah.
for a little bit before
He was a little brother of one of the
slayed by a
main
dragon.
NPCs of that gnome village, so he became one of the members of the guilds. So
Yeah, so that was one that I will remember for a while, and then
that was the first encounter too.
the first boss. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
There's some some of the dragon fights that I had with you guys were oh, I should have had more kobolds or something along those lines. The fireball into the wall that killed most of those kobolds in 1 hit was just okay. And then scenarios attacking you or biting you instead of, or no, I did the fire breath instead of biting you, and I could have just knocked you down or killed you.
Yeah,
in
you
that
could have
fight.
straight up killed me.
So, things like that are on me.
That's why your kill count is so low.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, get more aggressive, man.
I know.
No,
So,
go ahead.
go ahead.
It was the next question. So.
Okay, go ahead.
It was kind of to follow up on that. Do you like it when the players think outside of the box? From what you were thinking?
Absolutely. I mean, that drives the story. Yeah, sure. It's the DM's job to go off the cuff. Sure, yeah, it sucks because, like, maybe you drew out a map or something along those lines, and it's happened before. But yeah, I mean, it's the player's story. It's not the DM's. Like, it's the DM's world, but it's the player's story. So, guilds that did not happen, and they may happen in other, because the campaign is still going, or there's other players, but the campaign is still going, so I don't want to reveal it. So there are definitely plot points that I'd like to get to at some point, but who knows? Yeah.
So in plot points that say that party does take that random left turn and totally circumvents that side quest, starting their own.
Less XP. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you try to not railroad, but like track them back towards that, or do you like repurpose it to put it back in front of them?
So I used to do that a lot. Because it was part of the book, you know. Because I used to do more pre-gens than I did homebrew, and so that was the scenario that I was like, oh, now I got to flip to this, and hopefully I can get back to that. And yeah, so there are definitely times where I did do that. To railroad, as you would put it, or as it would be called. Yeah. But I try to steer clear of that because I'm learning as a DM.
Oh.
So everyone's learning.
Yeah.
As a player, as a DM, you're still learning, Dan.
I know everything.
Yeah.
Rules associated, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
And that then, let's kind of focus on the more specifics. You said you started 5e as a DM, and with 5e there became new mechanics or changes to mechanics, different readings of, say, spells or the way that they work.
Sure.
What is your favorite either change or thing about 5e mechanically that you like so far?
Oh boy, the numbers aren't as high. Okay, so to clarify, I started with 4E. So the numbers were exaggerated. Like, okay, you get this huge number, it hits this huge AC, and it's much more simplified in 5E. Like, okay, like it's the same thing, but there's like, I don't know how to put it. It's very streamlined. I really enjoyed the streamline of 5th edition.
Is there anything that you would change then?
We've changed a lot over the years. We've changed the way we do rolls for stats. We've done
Feats,
yeah. I do, because the racial feats for 5th edition came out in a UA and then eventually into Xanathar's recently. And in my encounters, I do first level feats, and those are racial feats if they benefit like that race. If they don't, then you can just pick another. Like, so let's say an Asmar, because they don't have Asmar in the Xanathars yet, or at least the racial feat. So, okay, you get another feat, different type. So, that's one thing I changed. It just benefits the players. Brings a little more storyline.
Okay, so you prefer more... Is it safe to say that you would prefer more of the superhero variety of parties than, say, like a down-to-earth or...
Yeah, I'm definitely high magic compared to low magic. That's what I'm getting there. Yeah, I enjoy giving the players the benefit.
So going back a bit, so we were talking earlier just about like your interactions like with players, as far as building their backstories.
Yes.
And everything, you try to like implement them into your campaigns.
Right.
How much of that is the two of you like talking back and forth about it versus them just giving you some information up front?
I try to talk with all my players for, and keep open to what their needs and wants are. So
Plate, mail, armor.
no, I'm just
Of a magical variety.
right.
Something of a higher rarity than rare.
So, would that mean you also would give them more items?
Yeah, all the time. to the detriment of myself, I'm like, crap. That's gonna work.
Dragon sword.
Yep. Yeah. Recently, I gave a +3 dragon sword, so it's like,
Are you serious?
yeah.
Very beginning of the campaign.
And everyone else has like rare, not legendary, which he basically does have. So which was what do you call it? Short-sighted on my part, or
Just a tad.
yeah, just a little. Just a little.
I
bit.
hope you didn't plan on
borrow
putting
his
any big
glasses.
dragons against
Shut
you.
up.
From what we've seen thus far, at least in the current campaign, we've seen less magic users. Do you try to avoid magic using either as a DM or as a PC yourself?
Oh.
Or do you... It's more of that, like,
That's
the
not-
items are rare, the items are common, the magic is common, but on how it is as an evil villain, or...
No, I use magic to the effect that the players use the magic. I mean, I have NPCs that are bards that use magic. This last encounter, at least. But throughout the campaign, you'll see magic. There's one type of magic that I don't, and that's once I don't use Revivify or Reincarnate. Well, I've used Reincarnate, but on a very limited resource. But arcane magic is out there. It's not going to go away. Druidic magic is definitely not going to go away, like the primal magic, I would say. So yeah, you just haven't encountered it all that much, I guess.
Okay. Then following up with that, what is your favorite and least favorite spells?
Okay, so I just came across a great spell with my paladin, my dwarf paladin, called Aura of Vitality. And that is a action, but for the rest of the encounter, as long as you keep concentration, which is great because my paladin has Warcaster, you can, as a bonus action, give 2d6 hit points back to another player in that aura. So 30 feet or 60, I don't remember what
30 feet.
30 feet. But that is a awesome spell, and I can't believe I haven't used it more often. So yeah, that is my favorite spell.
Least favorite?
Oh boy. Least favorite counterspell?
Is that as a DM or is that...
As a DM.
Yeah.
I think every DM's kind of least favorite because you're like, I'm gonna use this 9th level power of a house spell.
Yeah.
Counterspell.
Yep.
Natural 20. Okay.
Never mind.
Never mind.
It never happened.
Wasted the spell
And-
until the other mage counterspelled your counterspell, and so yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Bit of salt there.
No, I was remembering Mercer's most recent end of the campaign. I'm not going to get into spoilers, but there's a lot of counterspell use.
Yeah.
And I believe there was one scenario where there was a counterspelling the counterspell,
Yeah.
which was interesting.
So
I didn't know you could do that.
Doesn't say you can't.
it's a
Well,
spell.
no, it's the nature of the spell.
You're
As long as
countering
it's
a
the
spell.
same one casting the spell trying to counter it, then yeah, I can see it happening. And just I would have never thought of that if I didn't see it myself.
Yeah.
But this isn't about me. This is about you.
Is
What
it?
spell would you change?
Oh.
Like the like going into
No.
mechanics. Like
No. I wouldn't change any spell.
no, okay.
Yeah.
Besides Revivify.
Besides-
I just don't use it. That's the thing.
Okay, so that was actually a question
Okay.
I was going to have.
Sure.
Why do you in your campaigns not allow things like Revivify or Raise Dead?
It goes with the story. It goes with the story. It will maybe make a return here shortly, but with the new gods. So the gods are fading from my world, and with it goes the divine magic. So yeah, it's lingered for the cleric in the party, or did, but as far as Revivify or I can't think.
Raise Dead, Resurrection, True Treasure.
Any of those, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Okay. See, I feel like I knew that. I think you and I had talked about that because I was a cleric.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, why?
I had to let you know.
Yeah.
So to that, as an additional question, then, for people in your campaign, in this instance, that do play a cleric or a bard or a druid or a paladin, people with the ability to cast these spells, do they get anything mechanically to make up for that, or because in some instances that could
Unfortunately, I haven't thought of anything yet. I know you're playing a druid in my campaign, and we'll discuss something to an effect that you might get. I know that George has the ability to do it, but you, because you both are playing druids, because I gave her a special ability because she's special in a certain way, we'll figure that out. But you currently cannot do any of the reincarnate or anything like that. So,
okay,
yeah.
So for your campaigns, like any of the ones that you've done over your time,
Sure.
are there any in particular that you think would be cool or interesting to see in some different form of media?
Blog, because I do have a player in my campaign on Saturday that is going to do a storyline. He's talking to every one of you about how you guys came into the party, and also artwork. I love artwork. We've seen it already from one of my other players, and hopefully we'll see it in the future. So, yeah.
So, very simple rules for the lightning round. We ask you a question, first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
They may be yes/no questions, either ors, or just simply open-ended question in which if the first answer is yellow, then the first answer is yellow.
Okay.
We'll start off with Dan and work our way around the table and just keep going until we run out of questions or we run out of time.
Great.
All right.
Are you ready?
I am ready. Are
Question.
you ready, AJ?
I am ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1. If there was a monster you had to spend a day as, what would it be?
Displacer Beast.
Favorite feat?
Warcaster.
Favorite dragon?
Copper.
Favorite fiend?
Galabard. Oh gosh, what's the big guy? No, Garister. That's what it is.
Would you rather be a kobold or a goblin?
A kobold.
There's one. If you were stuck with one cantrip for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Friends.
Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Minis or dice?
Minis.
Favorite character level?
7.
Favorite color?
Green.
Robin Hood or Zorro?
Robin Hood.
Favorite class?
Paladin.
Least favorite class?
Sorcerer.
Favorite race?
Dragonborn.
Favorite weapon?
Glaive.
Lightning bolt or fireball?
A fireball.
Githyanki or Githzerai?
Githzerai.
Mace to the face, whip to the tip, or lance to the pants?
Mace to the face.
DM or player?
DM.
Role player combat.
Roleplay.
And that's the signal for the end of the round. We thank you for joining us on this episode of interviewing our bards and DMs. Until next time.
Thank you for staying at the Bardic Inn. If you would like to hear more, we will be uploading new content Thursdays at noon PST on
iTunes, YouTube, Castbox, and Podbean.
If you have any recommendations on future content, you can leave a comment on these various platforms, or you can contact us on Twitter at the Bardic Inn, or on Facebook at facebook.com/Bardic Inn.
We're your local bards.
Daniel.
Andrew.
Dan.
And Jake.
Be inspired.